ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। May God protect us all. May we take food together. May we meditate and pray together. May we attain peace through our discussion, and may we shine in wisdom. May there be peace everywhere. Om. Amen. I bow to one God who is formless and omnipresent. I bow to all the saints and sages of all times and places. I humbly bow to lineage of Kriya Yoga masters. I bow to living power of God within you all. Namaste and welcome to this seminar. Today we are going to discuss about practice to perfection. We are thankful to all the masters for all the wisdom we have received from them from time to time. We all have been practicing yoga. We learned it from different teachers, and various techniques we have been practicing. Surely, when we learnt yoga, we had some goal, some desires to attain something. It may be good health, peace of mind, happiness, and for some people, it may be self-realization. Although we have been practicing for quite some time, but sometimes we struggle even to concentrate. The vacillating, restless mind plays a big role in the quality of our practice and also the result we expect from it. So the question is, what are those factors preventing us from achieving desired goal in our yoga practice? If we understand them, we can easily deal with them and remove these obstacles so that our practice turns into perfection. A simple question comes, why can't we meditate? We all want to meditate, but many times we feel we can't meditate. I face this question many times from various disciples also, that we wish we want to meditate, but we are not able to get the time. There is a beautiful verse in the scripture, Panchatantra, verse number 98 in chapter 5. It says, Deve tirthe dvije mantre devagye bheshaje gurau yadrashi bhavanaryasya siddhir bhavati tadrishi. Meaning is, Deve in God, Tirthe in holy place or pilgrimage, Mantre in the sacred mantra which we chant, Devagye in the priest or fortune teller astrologer, we can say, Bheshaje in the medicine, and Guru means in the master, in the Guru preceptor. As our attitude or as is our faith, so is the result. So in all these 6 things, our attitude, our faith determines what kind of result we are going to get out of our practice. Practice is path of action. We have some techniques. When we perform any action, so it has 2 things involved. First is called Kriya and other is called Bhavana in Sanskrit. What is Kriya? Kriya means the physical action here, and Bhavana means the attitude with which we perform the action, or you can say the motive. So the attitude is more important. Physical action is just mechanical action, but if there is love, there is attitude of surrender, then we get the perfect result, or we can say this is the best karma, best action. So there is a difference between mechanical practice and practice with firm conviction of success, which is called attitude. Let's think about Arjuna in the battlefield of Mahabharata. Arjuna in between 2 armies and looking at both sides to whom he has come to fight with, and looking at the own relatives, he got dejected, he got depressed, and he got deluded, not willing to fight. All of us are in the same situation, that we come to the battlefield of our life. We are prepared, but we get deluded, we get confused, we get doubt, and then we don't want to move forward. So with the condition of Arjuna, we can understand the 3 things. There are 3 factors to attain perfection in our life, whether it is material life or our spiritual life or professional life, but these 3 factors work always together. Knowledge. Knowledge is the information. First we get the information about anything we want to learn, and this may be theoretical. So knowledge means what to do. Then we develop some skill. Once we have the knowledge, then we get the skill by repeated practice. So skill means how to do it. Then third factor is our attitude, want to do. Arjuna had knowledge of warfare. He got trained. He practiced many years in direct guidance of his teacher Dronacharya, and he had already won many wars before he came to the battlefield of Mahabharata. So he had already developed skill, he had perfect knowledge of all the weapons and warfare. He was expert in archery. And what happened to him? Standing in the battlefield, he does not want to fight with enemies. So what was missing here? He had a skill, he had knowledge, he had a skill, but he did not have will to do. He did not want to fight. So the attitude at that moment was missing. Remember, knowledge is given by our teachers or others. A skill is developed by our repeated continuous practice. Attitude is within us. Attitude to act, it is developed by ourselves. Nobody can prompt you for that. You have to develop your willpower, your attitude from within. And it is developed by transforming our mind. Knowledge and skills are important, no doubt, but more important is the attitude. In the absence of attitude, knowledge and skills, they fall apart. Similarly, in our case, let us think about our practice, yoga practice. We have knowledge. We went to a teacher, we learned the yoga techniques. Over a period of time, we have been practicing and we have developed some skill. We are efficient, proficient, but still many times when we are sitting for meditation, we don't feel like meditating. Mind is very distracting. So, in the current situation also, I get lots of messages sometimes through emails from many disciples, and I'll talk about the current situation. In the present situation of this pandemic, except the health workers and utility workers, most of us have got more time and opportunity to meditate. Just think, what did we do? A lot of people were sharing their messages with me that during this lockdown period, wherever they lived, in many different countries, we had this period of lockdown. So during this lockdown period, they enjoyed cooking and relishing various delicious dishes, but very few people utilize their time to meditate more, to deepen their practice. It all depends on setting the priority, and that is by our attitude. My master used to say that we all are practicing. We are practicing like we are working for part time, but we all are expecting full time salary. If we expect some result, that I want to achieve something, so according to that I have to put effort into my practice, but our effort is part time. Let us assume that we all are very sincere and regular with our practice, but still our practice is not perfect. So where is the problem? What are we missing to take our practice to perfection? In Yoga Sutra of Patanjali, in the first book, Samadhipada, Sutra number 30 and 31 explain the obstacles on a spiritual path. If you understand what are these obstacles, it will become easy to remove them, eliminate them. So, the Sutra number 30 says, Vyadhi Sthana Sanshaya Pramadalasya Avirati Bhranti Darshana Labdha Bhumikatvan Anavasthitani Chitta Vikshepa Ste Antarayaha. If you split all these causes, Vyadhi, first one is called Vyadhi. Vyadhi means disease. In Ayurveda, medical science, there are two types of diseases. We call it somatopsychic diseases and psychosomatic diseases. In Ayurveda, Sanskrit term we call Adhi and Vyadhi. So, Vyadhi means related to body, physical disease, and Adhi means mental disease, mental problems. So, Vyadhi is here means disease. Disease means unequal or imbalanced movement of breath in terms of yoga or prana. Second obstacle is sthana. Sthena or sthana is laziness. Laziness means lack of interest. Third is samshaya. Samshaya means doubt. Fourth is pramada. Pramada means confusion. Then alasya. Alasya means again sloth due to heaviness of body. So here the sloth is physical, and sthana is mental laziness. Then avirati. Avirati means craving for sense pleasures. Bhranti darshana, false perception. It is also an obstacle. Then next is alabdha bhumikatvat, means not attaining concentration. We try our best, but we are not able to focus or concentrate. The next is chitta vikshepa. Chitta vikshepa means instability, unstable mind. So these are 9 different obstacles in the path of yoga. Disease, remember, if we are not healthy, we cannot meditate nicely. If you want to practice, we need to have physical, mental strength. If mentally we are disturbed, we cannot meditate. If physically we are suffering with pain, we cannot meditate, because mind will always go towards the pain. So it is necessary for practice of yoga to keep our health in a good manner. Second thing is that laziness. So this is mental laziness, dhyana. Mental laziness means we lack of interest. We want to meditate, we know the technique, we have learned on and off, we have practiced, but we don't have that interest which is needed to achieve the goal of life. So this is laziness, mental laziness, and it also leads to procrastination. Maybe not today, tomorrow I will meditate. Third is doubt. What is doubt? We come to teacher, we learn the technique, and after some time we develop this doubt. Am I on the right path? Is this the right technique? Or we doubt that maybe this is not the technique suitable to me. Maybe the other teacher, other technique is better than this. So this doubt, when doubt comes, we cannot move forward, because in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna has said, Sanshayatma vinashyati. Those who have doubt, they cannot achieve success. They get destroyed. Coming to a teacher, learning something and then doubting on the technique or teacher is not good. So before accepting a teacher, before accepting a path or a technique, think 100 times. And once you accept it, then do not doubt. Have complete faith that this is what I need and this is the technique, this is the teacher which is going to lead me to the goal of my life. Then fourth problem is confusion. What is confusion? We meditate, but also we discuss with other people and sometimes we get confused. He told like this, but the other teacher is telling like this. It happens. We have many disciples, so sometimes some disciples, they come, they ask me some question, they go to the other teacher, they ask the same question. So they ask one question to many different teachers and it happens. Sometimes they get little different answer, so they themselves get confused. So why to get confused? Better just follow what is told to you. So it is obstacle, confusion. Then fifth obstacle is sloth. It is the physical laziness. Why it happens? Due to, it is called heaviness. Heaviness due to food or our wrong lifestyle. So heaviness of body and mind, again it creates lack of interest for yoga. Then sixth obstacle is the craving for sense pleasure. Remember, in the path of yoga, we have to control or regulate our sense organs. So regulation, it does not mean here not to use them, but use all the sense organs in proper way. Because God has given us all the senses, 5 sense organs of action, 5 sense organs of perception. God has given them not for our destruction, but for our development. So, use them, and the best way, if you read Vedanta philosophy in the Tattva Bodha, a Vedantic text, preliminary text on Vedanta, there is a beautiful description about the 3 bodies. So, it is mentioned that, and in many of our scriptures, it is said that this body is temple of God, and every sense organ in this body is presided over by a cosmic power. For example, in the eyes, right eye there is presence of Lord Sun, Sun God. Left eye is the moon. Third eye is the fire god. On the tongue, goddess of knowledge Saraswati. In the nose, Lord of success and wisdom, Lord Ganesha. In the hands, Lord of heaven, Indra. In the feet, Lord Vishnu, and so on. So, each sense organ is presided over by a cosmic power. So, when we use our senses in proper way, then they will not distract us. We have to regulate them. Otherwise, if we are craving for senses, whether it is taste or any enjoyment, it distracts us from the path of yoga. Then 7th obstacle is false perception. What is false perception? When we meditate, we perceive divine light, we hear divine sound, we have sensation. So, along with this perception, there are many beautiful experiences. Sometimes we see a very bright, beautiful light during one of our techniques, and we are so fascinated with it, we want to repeat it. And sometimes we hear some other sound and we get confused whether it is right or not. And sometimes we get beautiful different experiences we have, but this is not the real perception. Sometimes people say that they think that they are meditating deeply and they are into samadhi state, but instead of samadhi, because of more lethargic body, they fall into sleep. They fall asleep and they think they are meditating deeply. So, this is false perception, and it is better to consult your teacher and verify your technique. However, so false perception is another obstacle, because we are very much engrossed into that, we do not move forward. 8th obstacle is not attaining concentration. That means not going towards samadhi. Samadhi is the goal of our life. So, if we are not achieving that goal, we are not concentrating, this is also an obstacle. And for concentration, we are told to watch the breath, to focus on light or hear sound. So, these are all the instruments or tools for us to concentrate better. The 9th obstacle is instability. Mind is fickle, it is not stable. That is why we need repeated practice, which is called abhyasa. If the mind is not stable, then it is also becoming an obstacle. Instability means perhaps even attaining a state, but not able to maintain it, or we can say the steadiness of memory. Two things. Steadiness of memory means we remember the technique, but after some time, if we are not practicing, we forget the technique, and then once we forget, we do not continue the practice. So, mind should be stable through repeated practice, and sometimes we attain a state, means we get calmness, really nice meditation, and after that what happens? We are not able to meditate, so we lose our interest. So, we have to maintain certain state, like we have come to a level achieving peace and calmness, So, every day when we meditate regularly, we are able to maintain that state not only during meditation, but also during all the time when we are working in this world. But if we come down from that higher state of consciousness, then again we struggle with our mind and hundreds of thoughts. These 9 obstacles, they are associated with some visible distractions in the body. When you have the symptoms, you can know that yes, there is obstacle, there is problem with our meditation. Here, Sage Patanjali is speaking about these 4 associated causes for distraction in yoga practice in the Samadhipada first book. Dukkha dormanasya angame jayatva श्वास प्रश्वास विक्षेप सह भुवः. I'll translate it. दुःख दोर्मनस्य अंगमे जयत्व श्वास प्रश्वास विक्षेप सह भुवः. Pain, first is pain in the body. We are sitting nicely meditating and there is pain in the knees, pain in the back, we can't meditate. So, pain. Second is despair, feeling of despair, it distracts. Tremor in the body. Often you might have seen that when you are meditating, so you don't know, but your body starts swinging back and forth. So, this is again a distraction, because during complete meditation practice, our spine and whole body should be in a straight line and it should be steady. That is what is called posture, asana. And the 4th thing is shwasa prashwasa vikshepa, means irregular breathing, irregular inhalation and exhalation. So, these 4 are the companions of the mental distractions. What are these? Again, pain, despair, tremor in the body and irregular breath. Our breath is not regular. If you observe, the exhalation is little longer than inhalation, because with each exhalation we are spending our pranic energy, and that is how our life is diminishing in each and every breath. And these 4 visible causes are external states of restlessness and distraction. Sometimes we are trying to meditate sitting and then unconsciously we start moving our leg or our hand. So, that is also distraction, it is obstacle, we have to be steady. Now, the question comes, what can we do about it? How to eliminate these obstacles? I will give some practical tips. First thing, always meditate with a clear goal in mind. We are not casually meditating, we have set a goal. Our goal of life is to attain samadhi, self-realization. Remember, if we do not have a set goal, we take our practice as casual, we are not so sincere. So, set the goal that today, tomorrow or in this life at least, I have to attain self-realization. So, always meditate with a clear goal in mind. Second thing, that I am practicing it for the joy of my master who taught me out of love. I am practicing this technique for joy of God, because God looking at me is happy. So, clear goal that yes, this is my goal and I am practicing it. Second thing, please meditate with no expectation. most of the time people come and learn technique and meditate, they have lots of expectation that sometimes they hear from other people their experiences, sometimes they read in the book and they expect that these things may happen with them. For example, a lot of people are very much inspired by autobiography of a yogi, as Paramahansa Yoganandaji has shown miraculous and yogic powers in his life, and we start imagining and expecting that once I start Kriya practice, I will also do the same miracles and I will have all these yogic powers. But if it does not happen, then we get frustrated. Best is meditate without any expectation, because result will be there. You are putting your effort, you will get the result. With sincere practice, we do attain some siddhis, some attainments, or you can say yogic powers in Kriya also. But these siddhis, these minor achievements are known as obstacle in the path of yoga. A realized master in Vrindavan, India, he told once that these minor achievements we called so-called siddhis, they are the byproduct of our practice. So, do not go after them. Once you are after the siddhis or yogic powers, then you stop there and do not move forward towards the higher goal of your life. However, meditate, but without any expectation, and you will be happy. Third point is, make meditation as priority of your life. For example, we are eating every day, we take food, sometimes we fast, but we take food at least 2 or 3 times every day, we sleep every day. So also we need to meditate every day, maybe for 5 minutes, even for 5 minutes meditation, at least we are able to maintain the regularity. So, do not miss it. So, make it as a habit, make it as a priority in your life. In my ashram life, when I was in India as a trainee and then as a brahmachari, the trainee monk, I had decided that if I would miss meditation, for example, in the morning, I will not take lunch. If I miss my meditation in the evening, I would not take dinner. And for many years I followed this practice. Just think that how many times can you fast? So, naturally when you feel hungry, you have first to go to meditate and then you take food. So, it was a good practice. So, always make it as a habit, unless it becomes your habit, and habit becomes part of your life. How? When you repeat some action again and again, so it becomes your habit. Once a week or maybe 2-3 days a week meditating is not enough. You have to meditate regularly. You have to practice what you have learned. Fourth point is, take care of your diet, because when we discuss the obstacles like mental laziness or physical sloth, inertia, you feel inertia, the body feels heavy. Why? Because of your diet. So, take care of your diet, just watch. Remember, heavy meal after sunset makes our body more lethargic. So, in the morning it is difficult to meditate deeply. When you want to practice deep breathing pranayama technique, you cannot pull the prana. So, if the body is light, then your meditation, your quality of meditation will be much better. So, just watch that how is your diet. After sunset, take light meal if you need. I will not talk much about the food, because in Kriya practice it is secondary. You can choose a balanced diet which suits to you. Then fifth tip is practice. Practice with love for God and the masters. Why? Because we learn from them. God has given this beautiful technique of yoga in the beginning of creation to the human beings. And from our masters, from our various teachers, we have learned this technique. So, as a gratitude, I am practicing. So, I should have love for God and masters when I am practicing. Practicing without love is mechanical practice, which will give you physical and mental benefits only, but for spiritual benefits, you need to put more love into your practice. And this is in Yoga Sutra Patanjali, when Sage Patanjali explained the definition of Kriya Yoga in the second chapter, second book, first verse, Tapah Swadhyaya Ishwar Pranidhanani Kriya Yoga. So, it is a beautiful explanation. Tapa is the breath regulation. Tapa is the discipline of body and mind. Tapa also is temperature. When we practice deep breathing, pranayama, so the body temperature is slowing down, and sometimes the heat produced in the body and you can feel sweating. So, Swadhyaya is self-enquiry and Ishwar Pranidhana is the unconditional love for God. So, this factor Ishwar Pranidhana is more important for our yoga practice. Without love, practice is just mechanical practice. So, bring more love for God and masters when you are practicing. And another thing, whenever we are practicing, wherever we are practicing, our masters are present in their subtle form and we are practicing in their presence. So, with that feeling, practice and you will get the result. Next tip is, if possible, meditate in group with like-minded people so that you can get inspiration, motivation from others. When we meditate alone, sometimes mind tells us that you have meditated enough and we are finished in just half an hour. We try to meditate 1 hour, but in half an hour mind is distracting and telling you have done enough. So, when we are sitting with group, we have to sit there and complete the stipulated time. So, we have to practice it. Group meditation also helps because in the group when many people are meditating together, so the combined energy of each other helps us to elevate our consciousness. So, if possible, meditate in group. Of course, we meditate with closed eyes. Next thing which is important, please do not get distracted or deluded with many beautiful experiences during meditation. Sometimes we have beautiful vision, beautiful light, sometimes many things we go through and we get so fascinated, so much allured with these experiences, we want to repeat, and very often people come and tell, oh, I had this experience, now I am not getting this. Remember, these experiences are intermittent, means they are like intermediate stage, they are not the ultimate state, they are not the ultimate experience. The ultimate experience in yoga practice, especially Kriya Yoga, is to attain Samadhi. Unless we go to that state of supreme consciousness, we need to continue our practice, and in between many different experiences we will have, but they are just intermediate stage and we have to enjoy them. If you get experience, enjoy the experience, thank God and masters, because it is not me who is able to get the experience, it is the grace of God and master who are revealing this experience. So, if they have revealed something to us in form of any experience, we should be thankful and move forward. Do not get stuck at that place that this is the experience, I am enjoying it. Otherwise, you will not be able to reach the goal. So, enjoy the experience, thank God and master, move forward to continue your practice. Another good point is, please follow your own teacher faithfully. Don't get confused with too many teachers, too much reading, or I would say profuse internet information in modern time, and then comparing with different teachers. Sometimes they do, oh, this teacher is teaching these techniques, other teacher is telling the techniques like these, which is better. So once we start comparison, we get confused, and then we are not able to practice properly, we get disturbed. So please follow your own teacher faithfully. You have chosen teacher once, and all the teachers are representative of the lineage or master. Whatever master has taught, we are practicing and teaching that. Remember, Kriya Yoga is not theory that you have to read a lot. Kriya Yoga is a practice. So the technique has to be learned directly from the teacher, and then you faithfully follow the teacher. Whatever is told, just practice it and see, result will be there. More than technique, it is the love for God and masters which will give you spiritual fulfillment. So we practice, but these are the obstacles on our path. So if you follow these guidelines given by our masters, it will help us to go deeper into our practice. If we continue our practice as taught, as the techniques are taught by the masters or our teachers, surely we will reach the goal one day. So let us try to practice it regularly. The goal of yoga is to attain samadhi, the higher state of consciousness or state of perfection, which is also called self-realization. So let us practice sincerely, regularly, and deepen our yoga practice and reach that state in this lifetime. So let us practice with love wherever we are, and whatever we have learned with complete faith, surrender, and that is the attitude. If we do not have that attitude, our knowledge and our skill is not going to help us taking anywhere. I am thankful to all of you, and especially the organizers, for this seminar and giving me this beautiful opportunity to speak to you about our yoga practice. I bow to all the masters, and especially I bow to Paramahansa Yogananda ji. We are celebrating his 100th year coming to the West, and because of him we all are sitting and talking to each other here today. We are indebted to him. I am praying to God and all the masters to give us all round development. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let all become happy and healthy. Let everyone be loving, noble, and generous. Let there be no suffering or sorrow. Let there be no conflict among us. Let there be peace, love, harmony among us and in this whole creation. May the blessings of God and all the masters be upon us all and everywhere. Om. Amen. Thank you all.